Welcome, everyone, to the Commentary Podcast. I am your host, Pat Brennan.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another weekly film news. I am your host, Pat, and as always, my co-host Tony's here. Tony, how's your week been?
It's been a week. Welcome
It's been a
back.
week. It has been a week. It's been a week. It's been a week in a lot of ways.
It's been a week and some change.
A week
Welcome
and some
back.
change. But we're back. We're back doing the weekly film news. We
You're
took a
back. I stayed. I
we
was
did
here.
stay. It was a great episode. It was a great episode.
Oh,
We took
thank you.
a little bit of a week off from a commentary track, but it's nice to be back doing the weekly film news, and we got a chunky episode here, a chunky episode.
I had fun last week. I feel like me and my crew feel like we have commentary podcast crews, and my crew definitely showed up. So we had fun. I talked a lot about film news, and I'm excited. I was super anxious for you to get back so we could talk about CinemaCon. Yeah, this is probably going to be one of our biggest episodes yet. We have a lot to catch up on and a lot to talk about. But first things first, I mean, let's check in with each other. Like, we've been doing this for 21 episodes. This is 21.
hmm
This is our
This is
21st
21.
episode.
This is 21.
Um, and we have a lot of series out. I mean, just like check in with the podcast. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I think we've come so far in like what 5 months. It's been such a transition of the podcast, and
Mm,
it's been amazing. And this
yeah.
is our 21st episode. We've done 21 weeks of this. This is
Ye-
21 weeks of this.
I just wanted to check in with you and see how you're feeling about everything. I know we had a conversation earlier in the week about how we just aren't really thrilled by anything else out there right now. It's just not hitting. I mean, that's just for
hmm
us. We are getting older. We like having a specific kind of conversation where it goes somewhere or it
hmm
like is referential. I support some people that I have supported since like 2018 or like since they've been doing it for like 10 years, which is crazy to think about supporting someone for 10
hmm
years. But my favorite place to talk about movies is here on the Commentary Podcast. Let's hit this and let's get right back into where our listeners love to listen to us. Hit every single note, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether there's commentary, or whether there's really a conversation here. I think I speak for all of us on the podcast whenever I say welcome back.
It's
You
good
were
to be
missed.
back. It's good to be back. It's good to be back in the
Take
groove
care
of
of people
things.
for a whole week.
It's good to be back in the groove of things. But I guess with that, we can get right into the new releases this weekend. And first up is Lee Cronin's The Mummy, coming from Warner Brothers, directed by, obviously, Lee Cronin, because he put his name in front of it. It stars Jack Rayner, Leia Costa, May Calamaway, Veronica Falcone, and Natalie Grace. Now, Tony and I have seen this film. We saw it last night. And I will say, my review for this movie is where was the mummy?
My review also was asking where someone was. I think I just oh man, let's like I'm trying my hardest to be nice. I think my review that I told Pat right after was I don't think that James Wan and Jason Blum really give a shit about whether something is good or not anymore. They want to rake in some money off of a 20 to 30 million dollar film. And I want my money back.
Yeah. I just don't understand. Like, this is like the mummy. Like, when you think of the mummy, you think of like someone wrapped in like anyone thinks of like someone wrapped in cloth, like walking slow, like an actual mummy.
hmm
This, like, I'm sorry for the listeners, but like, this movie is literally a girl coming home and she just like is possessed. That's
No,
all it is.
I will appease our listeners. So there might be some that like are really like, "Well, dang, they really don't like this. Like I enjoyed it.
hmm
So I was telling Pat, I was trying to negotiate myself inside the film and be like, this is kind of like our mini review, by the way. It was like, maybe this is like a like symbolism of like having a terminally ill child. And then I was like,
hmm
maybe this is some symbolism for having like a hyper aggressive child that is just combative and yells and hits and the parents, and it's super
hmm
awkward as like a sibling. And then I also was like, maybe this is saying something about like familial trauma. No, it's
hmm
literally just a really bad movie that a guy decided to put his name in the front of and called The Mummy. And I was telling Pat that they were really, really stuck on that name. I think if you called it something else, like,
The Possessed.
I
The
mean,
Possessed.
I don't know, even something like Cutting Edge or like My Child is Missing or something like that. I was really intrigued to go see this movie because I was like, I want to be scared, and
Hmm.
then I want to have fun at the movies on a Friday night. Neither happened. So I am a piss off moviegoer right now. I spent
Hmm.
$50 at the movies. By the way, I was going to tell you about this. So whenever I went to the movies, I was like, okay, let me commit to the bit. Let me buy the ticket. Let me get a snack. Let me get a drink. Let me get something that, because it's a 2 fucking hour long movie. It's long. It's
Yeah, it's
basically
2 hours and
dinner.
12 minutes. Yeah,
It's
2 hours and 12
basically
minutes.
going out to
Yeah.
dinner. So I got
Hmm.
popcorn, I got a pizza, and I got a drink. I spent 50 fucking dollars at the movie plus my ticket. So you're
Hmm.
telling me that Lee Cronin wants people to spend about like 60 bucks like individually
Yeah.
to go watch
Hmm.
this? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I mean, like it sucks because like I have it's right over there, the Evil Dead Rise 4K. Like I
Mm,
think Evil Dead Rise is great. Like
love
I think it's
Evil
a
Dead
great
Rise. Love
great
it.
film. When I was
Yeah.
watching this, I was like, I get it, Lee. Like you love Evil Dead. Like I get it.
Mm,
You're just making Evil Dead, but you're saying it's the Mummy. I think because like obviously you know me and like the classic cinema and like you have the Universal classic monsters and like to me those films are like pinnacles of like Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, the Wolfman. You have these like pinnacle things. Like the characters look like the things they're supposed to be. To
mm.
me, when I was watching this, I was like, this is literally just a girl possessed in a house. We're watching a different version of The Exorcist with Evil Dead sprinkled in, and then there's hieroglyphics.
Not that I give a shit about people like saying like if we're mean to films or not, but do you think that this movie lost its identity in the screenplay or maybe in the storyboarding? Maybe,
Yeah,
perhaps?
I would say, and I think I was telling you, and for those listening, like this tested, I think of maybe late last year it
I
tested,
told you that, yeah.
and people were walking out when the test screenings, like it was not
Hmm.
good. Like, yeah, you were telling me this, and I was just like, I also want to let our listeners know that we're not like here to dog on things and being like pile on, but a lot of the times studios, especially when they have the rights to certain characters and certain things, they will make stuff so that they can retain the rights to said character. Now, I know that they've been trying to like reboot the Universal monsters for a long time. I know that they had a Wolfman in development. That wasn't the one that came out last year with
Hmm.
Ryan Gosling set to play the Wolfman. And that was in development for a
Interesting.
long, long time because
Hmm.
after the success of The Invisible Man, which I think is also a really good movie that came out like right before COVID, The Invisible Man came out.
These are Blumhouse projects, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
But I feel like they've been trying to make these Universal monster movies for like so long and create this like universe of them.
Hmm.
And it just seems like it's just not working. It's just not working.
So I feel like this film is a really big growing up moment for the podcast and maybe our listeners because it's just like you said, we are not here to just shit on a film, but we also
Because
aren't
people
film
work hard on
defenders.
it. People
Yeah,
work hard
people
on
do
it.
work hard
Yeah.
on it, and that's why there is some conversation to be had here. My thing is, I'm not gonna like every single movie that you like.
Hmm.
You're not gonna like every single movie that I like. And what do you know? We're still friends. We don't
Hmm.
unfollow each other on Letterboxd. We don't block each other on our socials. We are able to be nice young men who have friendship over not being in. If we both like the same things, that would be so fucking boring. It'd be
Yeah.
so boring. What's important for both of us to be like, okay, obviously, well, we both don't like this. And okay, yeah, we don't, but so does a lot of people too.
Yeah.
We just want to be able to have our critiques and be able to feel comfortable in a place to have them, and that's the podcast. And
Hmm.
if you want a place to have your own critiques and have conversations about film, go make your own fucking podcast. And that's all I'm gonna say.
We're gonna start trying to do this thing where we like see some of these films before we talk about them on
My
here
idea.
because and it was yeah, it was Tony's idea. It was Tony's idea. But it gives us more of like a honest conversation about the new releases. And this is an honest conversation. We did not really like Lee Cronin's The Mummy. We thought it
No.
was just I always tell especially I tell Tony, like I can tell within 15 minutes if this movie is gonna be good to me or not. And I knew because once the movie like actually started, I was like, you could cut out the first 15 minutes of this movie and you could just start it right here.
Hmm.
You don't even need this whole backstory. And I know
Yeah.
that those are studio notes where they need to have those backstories of why this is happening. But for me, you don't need to have that stuff. You can just have it where, hey, we found your daughter was missing 8 years ago. Oh, okay. Like that's all you need. It starts right there.
I guess what I will do is kind of outline the things that don't work with me anymore. And this is something that I see in horror. I actually was telling you about this other podcast out there that did a March Madness for like the tropes of horror,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
how one of the hosts on it was saying how she's like so over like possessed children. For me, I love how you personally know inside of you how you dictate whether or not a movie is going to be good for you or not.
Yeah, it's
And
for
that
me.
link,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
for
that
me.
language
Mhm.
is important. I mean, so much of the time, whenever people are having conversations about films, they take it very personally, like they were a filmmaker or they were a
Yeah.
talent on the film. No, whenever someone's saying like a film wasn't good, that means inside of them. That is their
Hmm.
experience. You can't take that away from them. How
Hmm.
dare anybody think that, oh, you didn't like the mummy, so like your taste sucks. And there's conversations like this. I'm pointing this out. For me, let me outline what didn't personally work for me. The possessed child thing, I'm
Hmm.
so fucking over just as like a whole whenever it comes to films. Like, I'm sorry, just William Friedkin did it the best. And, you
Yep.
know, it's gonna take another William Friedkin and who knows, maybe even 20 years. Who knows if that kid from A24's Backrooms is gonna go make a, you know, possessed kid film. Who knows? We don't know whenever the
Hmm.
next Exorcist is gonna be. This isn't it though. I'm not scared. The possessed kid thing is really getting old. Also, demon, I have to be really, really gentle with this because this is a religion. I get this feedback that I sound like a Satan worshiper or that I am atheist because me being annoyed by depictions of the devil in
Hmm.
film and cinema, and I've had this conversation with you before. I've had it about ghosts, I've had it about paranormal stuff. It's like the good versus evil thing. And then as soon, I'm kind of dropping a spoiler here, so I hope you've seen The Mummy. Spoiler warning, there is a demonic element to the screenplay. I literally just, my eyes could not roll back any further in my head. I was like, Jesus
Hmm.
Christ. The devil. I mean, riveting shit. Goodness, we all know that evil comes from there. Like, what new ground are we breaking? It's just the depiction of like the devil and then like in ancient times, like and all this stuff. That shit doesn't work for me anymore.
Hmm.
Life is scary right now. If the devil is real and if the devil's alive, I'm pretty sure he's walking around right now and having a good ass fucking time, you know?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
He's probably walking down the fucking street with a coffee and be like, this place is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
You
like you're like,
know?
yeah, I didn't have to do much. He's probably just like, I
Just
didn't have to do much.
modernize it. Yeah, modernize it. Make it advanced. Advance this
Hmm.
shit. We're stuck in this early 2000s, like, ooh, the
Child
devil's gonna come
possession.
and get you. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's my other commentary with fucking Hollywood right now. Like, quit putting shit in kids' mouths. It's just,
Yeah.
I'm
I
over
mean,
that.
if you think about it, like James Wan's created a lot of franchises people don't like. Saw, Insidious,
Hmm.
The Conjuring, like, but two of those deal with child possession. And essentially, they're different versions of, like you said, like The Exorcist and The Omen. They're different versions of it.
Yeah.
And I guess to them, studios that think this sells. But also, would it be an interesting idea?
What?
Why is it always that it's always the Catholic religion that is dealing with this and not any other religions? Why
It's
is it
insane.
always
It is
the
so
Catholic religion?
insane. It's
Why
kind
can't
of
it be
like
a Jewish religion? Why can't it be a Muslim religion? Why is it always just Catholic?
it's like a blanket, it's like a safe religion almost. There's like
Hmm.
this film does kind of intermingle both Irish culture and Hispanic culture, both
Hmm.
heavily rooted in Catholicism. It does make sense for both you and I to be
Yeah.
annoyed by all of this stuff because that
Hmm.
is literally our culture. And I'm not, like, my brain's unlocking right now. That's kind of beautiful how we're both linked together. For me, we're talking about more than Lee Cronin's The Mummy right now. Drop Lee Cronin, it's just the mummy. Move on. What we're talking about is this screenplay idea or this idea in filmmaking where the devil isn't like scary and nasty and decrepit and like long toenails and like all this stuff.
Yeah.
I tell you this all the time. The devil's supposed to be like beautiful and like tempting and
And
like
blends in
sultry and blend in. It's supposed to be this thing that you want to like invite into your life.
enticing you.
and I have not seen a lot of that in Hollywood
Hmm.
depictions of the devil or Satan. Eggers did it a little bit in The Lighthouse, and I really liked that. I really liked how he used the siren as like the temptress thing.
Hmm. It's like it's a temptation, and that's what it should
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
But yeah, like I always found it interesting that's like they never use any other religions, and like these other
Mm-mm.
religions are huge in the world. Like, why is it always the Catholic religion? It's always the Catholic religion.
Why couldn't it like be based in like Texas or like the
Hmm.
Baptist culture? Like, oh no, no, that's too much. That's too crazy.
Hmm.
It won't do well in the Bible Belt.
That's why I think also one of the greatest films ever made was in that Texas No Country for Old Men. Evil wins.
Evil
That's just how it
wins.
is. That's just how it is. But yeah, those are our thoughts on Lee Cronin's The Mummy. We have many a thoughts on it, but yeah, I think we were kind of disappointed in what we saw. And we both loved Evil Dead Rise, and we did see the teaser for Evil Dead Burn. That winner take in it.
Hmm.
So looking forward to that. But yeah, if you liked The Mummy, hey, you're allowed to love whatever you want. But we personally didn't care for it. So that brings us to our next release this week, and that is Mother Mary, coming from A24, directed by David Lowery, with music by Charlie XCX, Jack Antonoff, and Daniel Hart. It stars Anne Hathaway, Michaela Cole, Hunter Schafer, Kaya Gerber, FKA Twigs, and Alba Baptista. Maybe this is the film we should have seen.
Probably, yeah. I was telling you, do you think it is a little risky for as far as overexposure for Anne Hathaway to have the indie come out before the big hit?
Yeah. If A24 were smart, like I agree, I think they should have put this after Devil Wears Prada 2 in May.
Hmm.
Because then people will be like, oh yeah, I love Anne Hathaway. She's
Hmm.
amazing. Oh, she's another indie coming out? Hell yeah. But if you put
Yeah.
it 2 weeks before the big one, people are going to be like, oh, I didn't even know that even came out. And you're going to have a very, but I mean, they're going to drop it on VOD. It could do very well on VOD. There's never any VOD numbers. These studios don't have to give anything
So
VOD
you
number
don't have to
wise.
watch it in that like consecutive, like, oh, I have to
Yeah.
watch this week in theaters and then go support
I
in
think
two
A24 is
weeks.
probably like, let's just put it out now because I'm
Yeah.
sure A24 has stuff coming and they're like, this is when we want to slide this in.
Yeah.
So I've told you, like, I think David Lowery is one of the most underrated directors working. He's made a movie for Disney, Pete's Dragon. He made that
Hmm.
live action remake. He's made a Peter Pan film, Peter Pan and Wendy. I haven't seen it. I heard it's actually pretty solid, but he's also made a Ghost Story for A24. He's worked with A24 a lot. He also made Robert Redford's last performance in The Old Man and the Gun. Like he's a very versatile director. I think he just doesn't get that shining light that some of these other directors do that are working today. But it's great to see Anne Hathaway having a year. She's having a year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. She is on fire right now. And surprisingly is a hit with multiple generations of people, which is of course you'd want for your movie. So it does make sense that she's the lead in this and she plays the pop star. I know that some people were
Mm,
kind of poking at that a little bit at the very beginning, but it makes sense. It's good casting. What I wanted to talk about was going forward, I want to be a little bit more supportive and offering a little bit more insight whenever it comes to A24 and their marketing and their films in general. I don't know if you noticed, we talked about marketing in A24 a couple episodes back, and I was kind of predicting that Mother Mary was going to have a big physical and vinyl release with this film, how it would sell. On Wednesday, they announced the vinyl that you can now
hell
buy
yeah.
it.
Hell yeah.
So, if you are listening, I always just want to offer ways to prolong physical media and marketing for these films because I'm not saying like I had a hand in that or anything like that, but I'm offering insight. And I was looking at our like analytics, we tag A24 a lot in our
Hmm.
episodes. So I want to offer as much as I can to it.
Hmm.
This film is going to be a hit for anybody that's missing Taylor Swift or Charlie XCX on their tours. That pop star life is just really fun. And I surprisingly haven't seen any strings be drawn from Lady Gaga to this film in specific. I feel like Mother Mary and the vibe, I would love to ask David Lowery if I ever had the chance to, if he was just really influenced by Lady Gaga's, like, I wouldn't say her Renaissance era or like even like her come up era because all of Lady Gaga is iconic, literally from
Hmm.
whenever she was in New Jersey at metal shows to now. She's always been an
Hmm.
icon. Sometimes people are just like that. This aesthetic, I don't know if you know a lot about Lady Gaga during Born This Way. That's whenever we were in high school. It kind
Mhm.
of gives me that aesthetic. Do you have like a pop star artist or like a era that they were in that this aesthetic reminds you of?
I do know that Anne Hathaway said that she watched two things a lot: Taylor Swift's Reputation tour
Yeah,
concert,
yeah.
and Beyonce's Renaissance. She watched
Okay.
both of those.
I
And I'm
hadn't
sure she
heard
probably
that.
did watch some Lady Gaga stuff because it kind of feels like a whole blend of like four things: Taylor Swift, Charlie XCX, Beyonce, and Lady Gaga all in one. And I feel like that's kind of what they were going for. So it'd be very
Mm-hmm.
interesting to pick David Lowery's brain
Yeah.
on what concert films he was watching for this. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
he's watching a bunch of them. And Anne Hathaway said
Yeah.
she kind of was using a lot of influence, especially from Beyonce. I was using a lot of influence from Beyonce.
And then also, you just look at this cast and you can tell that they had fun. It's
Hmm.
very girl powered. It just seems like a fun time to have at the movies. I'm actually, can we go watch this one as well?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. You're a guy, but also guys can, I mean, we can kind of break the barrier here. Guys can also be pop girlies too. You like pop music. What would you say
I
is
do.
your favorite pop artist in their era?
I mean, I love me some Dua Lipa. I love me some Dua Lipa.
Dua Lipa? Dua Peep? You like the Dua
Dua Peep,
Peeps?
Dua Peep. I like Olivia Rodrigo. Got some bangers. They got some bangers, man. They got some
What
bangers.
specifically album or like tour would you say? And then I'll tell you mine as well.
I mean, I just went to the Dua Lipa one like back in October. She was at the
Hmm.
Forum here in LA. She's got some bangers, man. I mean, I wish I went to like an Eras tour for 4 hours, but I mean, I don't got the money for that. So,
It'd be really fun to see you in a diaper so you didn't have to go to the bathroom.
yeah. You know what's great about those concerts is there's not a lot of lines for the men's room, so you can go right to the men's room.
I would say my favorite pop artist in the pop era that I remember and enjoy looking back at the most is, for some reason, Beyonce's homecoming tour at Coachella was
Hmm.
just like so fun for me to experience. It was really cool to see that. Beachella.
Be jealous. Yeah, I think we're more interested in movies like this compared to
Yeah.
what we saw
I
last
mean,
night.
okay, be nice. Give it up.
Give it up.
It's
Yeah.
dead.
I think we're excited to go see Mother Mary, so we need to go. Where to go check that out? We're gonna go check it
Yep.
out. And that brings us to our final release this weekend, and that is Normal, coming from Magnolia Pictures, directed by Ben Wheatley, starring Bob Odenkirk, Henry Winkler, Alina Hitty, and Billy McClellan. This feels like the third version of Nobody, the Nobody One and the Nobody Two, and now this is just Normal, it's the same thing.
I've heard it gets the job done. That's
Yeah,
pretty
I've heard
much
it's
his.
actually pretty solid. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it gets the job done. I told you I don't know what is wrong with me. I have like a weird crush on Bob Odenkirk. It's strange. I don't know
Saul
what's
Goodman,
going.
Saul
I
Goodman.
don't know what's going on there. Yeah.
He used to be an SNL writer. He used to be an SNL writer. That's how he started. He was,
Really? He has lead energy. I'd be interested in just like throwing this on. I mean, we talk about this a lot. Like, would you think that you'd probably go see this in theaters? Like, if like you were just like real bored, or would you just wait till it came to streaming?
I feel like I would. I mean, Ben Wheatley's made some like solid stuff. There's one movie he made, I think I've mentioned it on this podcast before,
Hmm.
with Cillian Murphy and Brie Larson called Free Fire. Pretty sure they're like in like a warehouse and it's like a standoff. It came out in like
Oh yeah.
2015.
Yeah,
I'm
I
pretty sure
remember.
he
I
made
remember
that. He
this.
made that, and
He made
I think
that?
I think it's a solid movie. He's made some pretty solid stuff. I just like that Bob Odenkirk is like going down this route of being like an action star now, and like
Well, like I
compared to
see, and
Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, like, he's like an
it's
action
the
star
time of
now.
my life because I love that. I'm
Hmm.
like, yes, I love to see
Hmm.
more. What Normal reminds me of from Magnolia Pictures is we haven't had this conversation yet, but whenever we were like 12 or 13, was there like a theater in Philly where you went to like a dollar movie or like the $5 movies? Like it wasn't like the nicest theater in the world, but it got the
Hmm.
job done.
Hmm.
Okay, when I grew up too, this is like the exact kind of movie I'd go see at
Yeah.
like the $1 to $5 movie and be like, you know what? Like, heck yeah, like let me just go check that out. I think I saw like Daddy Daycare and Wild Hogs there, like when I was like that age.
Hmm.
But like that kind of movie, right?
Like that vibe, yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
what's this normal movie? And whatever, I gotta watch it. And you're
Yeah.
like, wait, that was actually kind of fun. I actually like that.
We like to have a little bit of fun. We say that and then and they get pissed off by big horror movies.
I think of the
We like to
three new
have
releases
fun.
this week, we chose the wrong one. For us personally, we chose the wrong
Yeah.
one.
And
But
sometimes you make bad
yeah,
decisions.
sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. And we're trying to do something different on the podcast and trying to see these movies before we talk about them. But hey, they can't all be hits. They can't all be hits. They can't
Can't all
all
be
be it.
gems. They can all be gems.
So just to recap, the new releases this weekend were Lee Cronin's The Mummy, Mother Mary, and Normal. If you've seen any of them, all of them, please let us know
Did
your
you
thoughts on
mean
them.
Lee Cronin's Mother Mary and Lee Cronin's Normal as well?
Yeah, he's directed all of them. Every movie he makes is Lee Cronin. So that brings us to the VOD releases this week. Pretty light week for VOD. But Reminders of Him from Universal is now on VOD. Slanted from Bleecker Street is now on VOD. Undertone from A24 is now on VOD. And Shelby Oaks from Neon is now on Hulu. So if you missed all of them, they're now available to rent or stream. Wherever you rent and stream things, you can go check it out. Tony, what is your serious and unserious pick of the VOD releases?
You always want to beat me so bad. I would say my serious pick would be Shelby Oaks. I didn't get to support Chris Stuckman whenever that movie came out. I'm trying to remember what happened. I think there was something else that really was catching my eye a little bit more than Shelby Oaks. But yeah, Neon release, Shelby Oaks. A lot of people had something to say about it, and I
Mm-hmm.
would rather just form my own opinion about it
Mm-hmm.
myself. Unserious pick is gonna be the Colleen Hoover reminders of him. I don't know. As a fellow Texan, sometimes you don't like your other fellow Texans.
Mm-hmm. I have the same unserious pick. Reminders of him.
Mm-hmm.
Good for Micah Monroe, but mm. uh,
Man.
and my serious pick is maybe Undertone. I'm interested to see. I
Ooh.
heard mixed things, but I've heard some pretty crazy things about the ending. So
You know, he did such a good job with that. They made a lot of their budget back because he filmed in his childhood home.
it's a tax write-off.
I don't know about any of that. Let's not open a can of worms. But also, they are giving him the Paranormal Activity reboot.
Maybe that's a good sign.
So maybe
Maybe
let's
they
check
liked
that one
Undertone.
out and see if he has a good
Good eye. A good
yeah,
eye.
good eye. While we're doing this, I just want to say I'm so happy to have you back. This feels right. I don't
I
know.
know.
I liked doing the episode alone, but I missed you a lot.
I missed you too.
Yeah,
This feels good to be back. It feels good
it's
to be
just
back.
like I don't know, like whenever you find someone that like likes the same stuff as you or like is able to have like conversations with you and everything, it's just like this probably is someone's like light right
hmm
now listening to this stuff or having this show to themselves. And we always talk about how we're going to take this bigger eventually one day. And I don't know what that looks like, but this is so nice to have this little pocket of the
hmm
internet like as like a little haven to ourselves.
hmm I love it. Well, it's great to be back. I'm glad to be back here with you and doing all of this.
Speaking of, how about them trailers?
A lot of trailers. A lot of
Remember
trailers.
whenever when we were little boys and like we would go to YouTube and be like, look up King Kong trailer. Or like run it back and be like the Mummy trailer, like Titanic
Yeah.
trailer. Trailers are a culture. I know that some people don't like trailers because they like to go into a film completely blind and stuff like
hmm
that. But I mean, there's a whole team dedicated to marketing and like people that spend time on like picking the right frames, picking the right
hmm
track, picking the right visuals and edits. And I think everything that we do on the podcast and like just where we are with our discovery of cinema, because it's a constant journey. You're not done discovering cinema just from claiming that you like movies. You have to like keep furthering your experience with movies. Trailers are huge and we talk about
hmm
them a lot on the commentary podcast. I was just realizing somebody might be entering in on this episode. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about these trailers with you. Take it
hmm
away.
It's good to be back. And I think with that, let's get right into the trailers. There was a good amount of them. A good amount of them.
Mm-hmm.
First up is The Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping, coming from Lionsgate, directed by Francis Lawrence, starring Joseph Zada, Elle Fanning, McKenna Grace, Ray Fine, Jesse Plemons, Lily Taylor, Glenn Close, Iris Apatow, Kieran Culkin, and Maya Hawke. Stacked cast. Movie looks great. Looks fucking great. Perfect casting for a lot of these. I think my favorite casting is Jesse Plemons as young Philip Seymour Hoffman because he played his son in The Master. So
It's pretty solid casting. We'll take it bit by bit. Starting off with the lead, Joseph Zeta. I was telling you that he had a queer role starting his journey in film, and then he was on a series. But it reminded me of Josh O'Connor in a way. How Josh
Mm.
doesn't shy away from queer roles, and I'm
Hmm.
really excited to see Joseph Zeta in this. I know that there is not a lot to do with Haymitch after this because he does turn into like a drunken bastard and like yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. But he'll be
Hmm.
able to do something really cool here, and I'm excited for that. How he sets up the alcoholism in Haymitch's
Hmm.
story. Elle Fanning, wow. I see some people kind of like complaining that she is definitely a lead actor, not a character actor, and
Hmm.
you know all about that with your classic knowledge. I mean, what a compliment though, still, and I'm sure she's
Hmm.
gonna do great. If we get double McKenna Grace with the same amount of screen time, now I will be pissed. I need this young talent as a lead in something so bad. I want to
Hmm.
see her. And then yeah, Jesse Plemons. I was gonna ask you this about one of the actors in this, but first I'll have to hit the one that I'm most excited for is Kieran. I love him so
Hmm.
much, and I feel like he's gonna do something completely on his own. I was gonna
Hmm.
ask you about the Glenn Close character in this. Do you think it's too much? Do you think it's right on? I mean, I feel like if she's playing this big, she might as well go back to Disney and be like, "Hey, give me another Cruella movie." What do you think?
Hmm. Glenn Close has had an interesting last like 3 years. A lot of the
Mm-hmm.
characters she's playing are so like insane and over the top for like
Mm-hmm.
to me it's like why? Like why do you
Mm-hmm.
keep going this insane? But I guess it's supposed to be like a contrast to Elizabeth Banks's character. It seems more extreme and like robotic kind of because she's like
Yeah.
fully from the capital. This movie looks great. I heard the book is really good.
Mm-hmm.
The Hunger Games is going to go down as like one of the biggest franchises ever that didn't really, I mean, some people didn't like Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but I did. And I think it's going to go down as like one of the best franchises of all time. Like these movies are billion-dollar franchise. Like, I mean, there's not even in the cast here, but Jennifer Lawrence and Josh Hutcherson are in this movie.
I think that with each entry, I'm very satisfied with every entry. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm wanting to say is that these entries and these books, this whole entire franchise has something to say about the world, about government, about poverty, about, oppression and kind of seeing humanity in a different way. And those are all very, very interesting elements to be in children's books. This is a children's
Hmm.
book. A lot of us read them like as millennials growing up in high school, and we had this, love and adoration for them. But they're also like trying to say something here. They're trying to wake
Hmm.
you up to realize that like this fantasy book is actually a depiction of like what is going on in real life right now. Now
Hmm.
you'll have some people that listen to what I just said and be like, "Oh, fuck off. There's not an actual like survival games where you have to fight for your district or anything like that."
Hmm.
But I mean, we're getting pretty close, guys. I really don't know what else to say. There's corruption all over. There's obviously an imbalance in how life is for somebody that makes 50K a year to somebody that is a privileged kid who like if they're late on the bill, they can just call mommy and daddy. What do
Yeah,
you
you're right.
think?
It's no, you're right. And I mean, the US is doing a kind of Hunger Games thing with states competing against each other. I think it starts like next year. It's kind of like Hunger Games is right. Is this the Hunger Games? Literally, is this the Hunger Games? Like these books aren't, yeah, they're meant for teenagers and but I mean they're trying to tell you something. They're trying to tell you something about how society works. If you go against somebody, sometimes this is your punishment for that. I think it looks great. It's gonna be
Yeah,
a big Thanksgiving hit. It's gonna be a big
yeah,
Thanksgiving hit.
absolutely. Some good counter programming for sure for a film that we're going to talk about later. But yeah, Hunger
Mhm.
Games, I'm in.
We are in. We are in. So that brings us to the next trailer that was released this week, and that is Insidious Out of the Further, coming from Sony, and is directed by Jacob Chase, starring Amelia Eve, Brendan Pereira, and Lynn Shay. I thought this franchise was ending like 3 movies ago, but here we are. Another one. Here we are. We're here with another one. They're still
How many
going. They're
are
still going.
there? How
I
many
think
are
this
there?
is
Wait,
the
I think you just opened
sixth
my eyes to
one.
this. I was like, is this the
I think this
sixth
is a
one?
six. Yeah, I think this is a six. You have Insidious one, two, three, and then the fourth one was like a prequel, I think. And then you had The Last Door,
Jenna
right? The Red
Ortega's in
Door.
one of them, right?
The Red Door. She's in
She's
two, I think.
she's
She's in
like
two
the
as like
little
a little
girl in
kid.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. This is the sixth one. I think this is the sixth one.
So what I was just gonna say was like this one does look scary. It looks like they're bringing it back full force. I mean, ever since I heard that Brandon Perea was attached, I'm so down. I'm a little bit disappointed in that he is not the lead. Like the trades
Hmm.
were saying, he's not the lead. He looks like he might be like the love interest or something.
Yeah.
That's like watching
Just
all
like a
this
supporting
happen.
character. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that kind of pulled me out of it a little bit, but it does look scary. It looks like Insidious. We'll see. Summer hit, right?
Yeah, I think it comes out in this. I mean, horror always does well. People like to be scared in the theater. People know
Mm-hmm.
Insidious as a franchise in general, so I'm sure they're probably thinking the same thing. Like, oh, I didn't know they're still making movies of Insidious. I didn't watch the last five. I saw the
Mm-hmm.
first one. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
all I saw. But
Yeah.
horror franchises always have like 12 entries in them. It's just how it is, and they'll say this is the last one, but like they said it for The Conjuring, and then they're making a prequel to The Conjuring of how they started to do all of the paranormal investigating. And like with this one, it's like, well, if we're gonna keep having Lin Shaye in these, and let's just keep going. Let's just keep going.
What would you say that you like the first one or the second one more?
I like the first one more, I think.
I do too. I do too. I have
Mm.
a funny story. I went on a drive-in date to the first one. I think it was like my first year of college, and we had like the chicken dinner boxes in our in our laps. It wasn't like a romantic date or anything. It was like kind of very much like a first date kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we're watching Insidious, and like the music's like blaring out of the drive-in theater speakers, and then it has like that iconic like those strings whenever they like hit or whatever,
Mm.
like doo, and then the
Mm.
guy goes, "Oh shit!" Just like all the fries fly.
Throws throws it all over.
He was like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "This is not a sexy movie. I'm not into this." I was like, "It just smells
Oh
like
my
fries."
God.
It was a good movie though. I had fun. It
Yeah.
was
And
drive-in theater.
I was telling you
You like
like
that story?
yeah. I would do the same thing. I would throw
Now
myself.
you're gonna go listen to the score. You're gonna
Yeah.
imagine.
Oh shit. But I was telling you the scariest part of Insidious to me, like wasn't like the iconic Patrick Wilson and then the devil's like right here, like behind
Yeah.
him. It
Yeah.
was the smiling family when he opens the closet and then they just like smile really fast. Like I was like, nope, nope, that is not for me, not for me.
Uh, have you seen House on Haunted Hill?
I think so, yeah. I think I
The
saw it a long
new
time
one?
ago. Like from like 2009 or something.
It's an early 2000s.
Maybe I
They
haven't seen
start
the
off on
early
like an
2000s.
elevator or something, and it's like, sweet dreams are made of these. I don't know if you remember that one. I'm trying to think of
I
who's
don't
in
know if I
it.
have. I don't know if
Hold
I have
on.
seen that.
I'm going somewhere with this. House on Haunted Hill, 99. Do you remember that one?
I don't think I ever saw it.
Okay, so let me tell you this cast. Ali Larter, Joffrey Rush, Tay Diggs, Chris Kattan. The only reason that I bring that up is because you said that that kind of horror like really works on you and freaks you out. That
Hmm.
movie is laced with it. I'm not talking about just like one or two scenes. It's like the entire movie. That movie would
Damn.
probably freak you out. Shout
Yeah.
out to House of Haunted Hill.
There's an original one from like the 70s, right?
Yeah,
I think
in the
I've seen that.
59. Yeah.
59, yeah. I've
Yeah.
seen that. But I haven't
This
seen the
one,
99
they
version.
they go into a house to like I think it's basically the same setup as like Halloween Resurrection. They have to like survive in
Mm.
the house, and whoever survives wins.
Survives. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like an Until Dawn kind of vibe.
yeah,
Just make it to
yeah,
the morning. Yeah.
yeah. Joffrey Rush is in that though.
Yeah.
Joffrey Rush.
Yeah. Haven't seen it. Now I gotta watch it. Now I gotta watch it.
Now I'm kind of mad that you haven't watched it. Wow.
So that brings us to the next trailer that was released this week, and that is Passenger, coming from Paramount. Directed by Andre Overdahl, starring in Jacob Scipio, Lou Lobo, and Melissa Leo. I remember the teaser that came out, well, a few months ago. Kind of was like a short film when you saw the passenger, I guess, get into the passenger side of the car.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you were telling me this feels like it felt like two separate trailers that kind of spliced together
It
into
felt
one.
stitched. It was an
Hmm.
interesting take on it. So, fun fact about this trailer, actually, even like post Super Bowl, which was very interesting for Paramount. Paramount's been having kind of a really interesting marketing strategy with their films. So, Passenger only started rolling out its trailer for this in theaters. You could only watch the trailer in theaters, so that's why it felt like a short film. It played
Hmm.
before The Monkey. I remember being scared more by that trailer than the fucking monkey. The monkey was great though. The monkey was banger, banger. I'm intrigued. I don't know what else I could say about it, just other than it's unfolding itself. You can tell like all those shots are from Act One.
It feels very much like Paramount's trying to find their next Smile franchise.
Hmm.
It kind of feels that same way. It's like, oh, once you've seen the passenger, like you can't let him go. Like he's gonna be with you forever. And it seems like they're kind of going that like Smile route in the same kind
I
of vibe.
I definitely see like a transparent two behind Passenger.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah, I
get
mean,
that.
it seemed like it probably was like a short film idea that then they adapted into more of a feature film. I remember the teaser when it first came out, it did scare people in the theater. They jumped at the end. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it worked. So they're trying to enter a lot of genres themselves and they
Hmm.
have the Smile franchise, which is very successful. And this could be something that goes their route. The plot seems very basic, but it could be a
Yeah.
hit. It could be a hit. We could be the passengers in the car. I don't know. I don't know. So that brings us to the next trailer that was released this week, and that is Fokker-in-Law, coming from Paramount. It is directed by John Hamburg, and it stars Ben Stiller, Robert De Niro, Ariana Grande, Owen Wilson, Blythe Danner, and Terry Polo. This is the fourth film in this franchise. They've gotten a big star in Ariana Grande to come in and be the soon-to-be daughter-in-law. Comes out Thanksgiving, I think, against Hunger Games. So you have the counter programming there, and I think it's gonna be a hit. I think people maybe have forgotten about this franchise, especially after the third movie, which was not received very well at all. Little Fockers, but I'm excited. What about you?
Yeah, I'm excited as well. I told you that this kind of humor works on me. I'm a big fan of the
Hmm.
early 2000s comedies. Ben Stiller and De Niro killed it in one and two, and then you have
Hmm.
Hoffman and Streisand join them for the
Hmm.
second. This kind of humor works on me. I know that a lot of people think it's like real cheesy and like dad joke kind of vibe, but there's something about Greg Fokker's like just personality that just makes me like happy and feel like
Hmm.
this is like good Thanksgiving vibes. One of the sequences I really liked from the trailer was him calling his son Wee Wee. And like that's exactly what I'm saying. Like that kind of humor
Hmm.
works on me. I don't need much here. One thing I will say is it feels like Ariana Grande's role is a little serious, right? Like
Hmm.
she's more on the dad side on well, I guess he's grandpa now,
De
but
Niro's
Robert
side,
De Niro,
yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
she's more reserved and like kind of like observing the family instead of the family observing her. Like you have De Niro telling Ben Stiller's character that she's going to be welcomed into the circle of trust. It isn't whether or not if or not she is, it's like she is. I think Ariana Grande operates the best at full capacity. Like she hits that mark whenever she is allowed to be funny in improv, which is a
Hmm.
compliment. I mean, right next to Stiller and De Niro, all I think about is the SNL skit that it just
Yeah.
cracks me the fuck up. Are you
Hmm.
scared, little boy? And it's just like she literally goes up to someone and is like, "Look at you, big white ass." Looking like Pennywise went to an improv class. Like that is when Ariana Grande is the funniest, and I'm worried that she is going to lose a little bit of
That,
that.
yeah. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like the trailer, it had to, I needed to see the chemistry that the three of them had together.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like there is chemistry there because obviously those are the
Mm-hmm.
three main actors in this movie. It's nice to see Owen Wilson coming back and playing his character again. But I think like the movie's going to really rely, I think, on the chemistry between all three of them. And it seems like there is the chemistry still there. So
Mm-hmm.
Ariana Grande bringing in that, I guess, kind of Robert De Niro serious. Maybe she's reserved in the trailer, but she's more funny when the actual movie comes out. So
Yeah.
it's like the first trailer, but I mean, it seems like people are interested again in the Fokker franchise. It's still
Yeah.
here. It's still here and around. This is the
I
fourth one
love it.
over 26 years. It's 26-year franchise. They're still making them. Yeah, I mean to get Ariana Grande in this movie is a it's a pretty big thing. Pretty big thing to get her in the movie.
Yeah, we love gay fuckers.
For those that don't know, Ben Stiller's full name in this movie is Gaylord Amma Fokker. So
No, don't explain it to them. They either know or they don't.
yeah, I think we're excited for Fokker-in-Law. It's coming Thanksgiving. Obviously, a great Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the next trailer that was released this week, and that is Godzilla Minus Zero, coming from Toho. VFX written and directed by Takashi Yamazaki, and it is the first ever Japanese project to ever be filmed for IMAX. Now, Godzilla Minus One was a great film, fantastic film.
100%.
And it seems like they're bringing back all the original cast from the first one, and they had an iconic shot of Godzilla with the Statue of Liberty. So, I mean, what more do you need? What more do you want? It looks fucking great. It looks fucking great.
All that would like lay this into me, I guess like that would make me like, or like whatever. It was if they played the score while Godzilla's walking into New York City. I feel like kaiju films are a good checking point to like see where you're at in your monster journey. Like, say for like that 90s Godzilla, you felt really bad for the people that Godzilla was terrorizing.
Mm,
And then, like, say for example, in Godzilla Minus One, you felt absolutely horrible for Japan. I mean, that was
mm.
insane. I don't know. Maybe Godzilla can go fuck some shit up in the US.
Yeah,
I'm not too
maybe
worried about it.
maybe he's gonna hit New York and see what happens in New York.
I'm not too worried about it. I'm ready
But
for some monster shit.
I
And I'm
mean,
sorry, I might get canceled for that. I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know. I want to see Godzilla fuck some shit
fuck some
up.
shit up. Yeah, I want to see them fuck some shit up. I mean, Godzilla minus one. A lot of people that have seen that love it. I don't think I've ever heard anyone that didn't like it at all. I think it's fantastic, and it's an Academy Award winning film. It won Best VFX, so I think this one is going to be a big hit, and I'm curious to seeing it in IMAX. I want to see this in IMAX.
I want to feel Godzilla's breath on my neck.
I want to see him walk down and destroy New York City.
I want him to be like, yes, can I please get one hot dog?
Yeah, he stops at hot dog. All right, he's gonna stop at hot dog. So that brings us to the next trailer that was released this week, and that is Street Fighter, coming from Paramount. It is directed by Kitao Sakurai. It stars Jason Momoa, David Dastmalchian, Noah Centineo, Oliver Richards, Andrew Koji, Eric Andre, Joe Anoa'i, 50 Cent, Mel Joranson, Raina Vallandigham, Orville Peck, and Cody Rhodes. Interesting to have this movie come out. Mortal Kombat 2 is coming out very soon. Same vibe. And honestly, this looks pretty solid. Looks pretty fun.
Really happy with the trailer. It looks good. I put those bottom two next to each other because you have some queer representation and then also your WWE side. So it feels like
hmm
they're playing directly at us. I feel like that's very
hmm
important whenever it comes to marketing a film. You're signed up, I'm signed up, let's go. Like that's it.
Yeah.
It's that easy. And
hmm
everybody was featured in the trailer. You don't have this. I feel like with a big cast like this, the Street Fighter, there probably are arguments like within the contracts of like, oh, how much am I going to be shown? Like, what's the development of my character and stuff like that. This all feels cohesive, and they were having a fun ass time at CinemaCon, like a fun
Yeah.
ass time. I'm down. I know what Street Fighter is. Yay!
Yeah. Everyone knows what Street Fighter is. But it's interesting that you're having like these movies that were like arcade games that are just
hmm
one-on-one fights becoming a thing. And Street Fighter, I mean, it looks like the same vein as Mortal Kombat, kind of the same
hmm
kind of vibe, and it looks fun. It looks like, okay, I'm kind of in. I like the visuals that they're going for here, and they're bringing them in for the tournament of Street Fighter. So, and
Yeah.
then huge cast, and yeah, it seems like everyone that was cast, like a lot of the people that love Street Fighter are like, I'm on board. This looks fun.
You basically have to get acclimated and familiar with video games now. I feel
hmm
like if you want to be part of all the hoopla whenever it comes to movies. I was trying to think of like another, because this is going to be a trend. Like, what is going to be the next Street Fighter? What is going to be the next Mortal Kombat 2? The game that I played that was on PlayStation was called Soul Blade. I don't know if you remember that
hmm
one. Was there any games like that for you, like big fighter games with like a bunch of different characters? I already know what you're gonna say. I don't even know why I asked.
There was one, it was kind of like a Street Fighter. It was like DC characters versus like, I think I read the other one, but it's basically you could fight as like a Batman and you're like fighting Superman, like one on one, kind of
hmm
like the same vein as Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. It was the same thing. I forget what the game was called though.
I mean, the only reason that I asked is because eventually, like, we'll be seeing like at least two or three video game adaptations of like a quarter in the box office year.
Yeah, I mean, like if these movies do very well financially, these studios are going to want to do other arcade games that were like that. Like clearly there's an audience here and curious to see how Mortal Kombat 2 does in a little bit. It comes out next month and this one comes out a little later in the year, but it seems to be testing well. Audiences like it that like Street Fighter, so they like the way it looks and my boy Cody Rhodes from the WWE. And
Oh yeah, well, you got my boy Orville Peck in there. He's in theater now. He's doing pretty good.
So that brings us to the next trailer that was released this week, and that is The Mandalorian and Grogu, coming from Disney. It is directed by Jon Favreau, starring Pedro Pascal, Sigourney Weaver, Jeremy Allen White, Hemke Madera, and Martin Scorsese. Visually, it looks good. I mean, I was telling you, it just looks like a 2 hour Disney Plus television show on the big screen. I mean, it's Star Wars. It seems like, from what I understand, we're going to talk about it a little later, but this premiered obviously at CinemaCon, and they said that in the beginning of the film that they tell you a little backstory of the Mandalorian and Grogu in case you've never seen the television show. From this trailer vibe, it seemed like this is the end of their story. That's the kind of the vibe I was getting from the trailer.
I feel like this is just going to be a nice little bow on
Hmm.
whatever the beginning of Disney Plus was. It's crazy that it's only been about what, maybe like 5 years,
6 years, I
something
think.
like
Six
that.
years
Yeah,
almost.
five,
Yeah.
6 years. Lucasfilms gave this to Disney to continue on the Star Wars legacy. So what he probably wanted was for them to continue making stories in the universe of Star Wars and everything like that.
Hmm.
This is kind of a color of that, but there's so much more that needs to be explored with Star Wars. It's just the same
Hmm.
thing like you said. I'm excited for everybody. I know that Pedro and Sigourney are in here. That's awesome. But I want to be excited, but I know that this world where people love to just like hate on shit over and over, and that's the kind of energy that for me I never want to be in a conversation with somebody that has something to say about that. I literally watched a classic sci-fi film last night, and I know that they can be
Hmm.
good. And I know Mandalorian and Grogu is not going to be as good as that. But you have this like peanut gallery of people on the internet that will literally tear Favreau, Pascal, Sigourney, Jeremy Allen White, and Martin Scorsese to shreds because this wasn't like made for their demographic. This is for kids. This is a
Hmm.
kid film.
It's interesting, like you said, like this is kind of the bow on the end of Star Wars, and we'll talk about Disney's like CinemaCon panel later, but they do have another film coming out which no one's seen any footage of with Ryan Gosling, and it's coming out I think next year. They haven't really talked about it a lot. I feel like Disney and like Lucasfilm seem to be pulling a little back on Star Wars, trying to figure out what they want to do. And
Hmm.
like I said, the trailer vibe seemed like this was kind of the end of the Mandalorian and Grogu saga. Like I agree. I do think that Disney kind of needs to move away from like that Skywalker timeline and just make something new in Star Wars, just completely new that, hey, we did the Skywalker timeline for like 30 projects. Let's move on. And I think also Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilm, they need to realize that a lot of these people don't watch all of these television shows, so they don't know what's going on. And you might need to pull back on making people having to watch 3 seasons of a television show to understand what's going on, to then
Hmm.
hope your movie makes $1 billion. Like you're asking for a lot from audiences to do that. And sometimes you just need a simple story on the big screen. I mean, it looks shot visually well. I mean, the show shot well. It's just I can see people how they watch this trailer being like, "How is this different just than the Disney Plus show that I'm watching? It's just a 2 hour long episode in theaters."
I like what you said about Disney having this expectation of like the audience having a relationship with this film before going to see
Hmm.
this new one. And that's not always the case. Like
Hmm.
even in like the last 2 or 3 weeks, there's been so much dropped on us streaming wise. It's like, what the fuck do you pick?
Hmm.
In between like Beef, The Pit, The Boys, what else? Invincible.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, like do you guys just think that people don't have jobs and just sit around and watch TV all day? It's
Hmm.
bad.
That's what they're hoping you do. Like you just constantly are consuming all of this stuff. You're
Like I'll
constantly
get to
consuming.
Beef season 2 next year at
Yeah.
this point. Like Jesus fucking
Basically.
God.
Yeah. We'll add it
It's
to the list.
bad.
It'll be like a
No,
long
but
time.
it's like you're saying that the studio expects you to have a relationship with these films before you go see them, and that's not always the case. People forget about the casual moviegoer all the time, and it's starting to kind
Hmm.
of piss me off a little bit because that's why they like go like, "Oh, Hollywood's too woke now. Like, this isn't for
Yeah.
me." There's gonna be a freaking 35-year-old guy who's like, "What is this
Yeah.
about? Why does he have that little alien baby? I'm confused. I thought there was lightsabers. Where's Ewan McGregor? Like I'm
Yeah.
confused."
Yeah. People will be confused. They'll go see it though because they like Star Wars that are casual. And about 30 minutes in the movie, they're gonna be like, I don't really know what's going on here. I'm so confused as to what is going on. Disney, I think, is taking a risk to make this a movie in theaters. I think they're hoping this is going to make a lot of money, and we'll see. We'll see if you have the audience that watched The Mandalorian on Disney Plus go show up for this, or if they just wait until it's on Disney Plus and be like, yeah, kind of forgot about that show. But We'll see. The title doesn't really help. I'll say the title doesn't really help. So that brings us to the final trailer that was released this week, and that is The Dog Stars, coming from 20th Century Studios. It is directed by Ridley Scott. It stars Jacob Elordi, Josh Brolin, Margaret Qualley, Allison Janney, Guy Pearce, and Benedict Wong. Pretty solid cast there, and I thought this was a fantastic trailer. I'm very excited for this. I'm very excited.
The cast all together, you saying them like that makes me smile so much. I watched this one this morning. We were just kind of running over notes while I was checking it out, and I was like, Ridley, are you back? Is he
Is Ridley back? Is Ridley back?
really pooped the bed with Gladiator 2 and now he's back? No, this looks amazing. I told you, I was like, I knew this was a novel adaptation. I knew it. I knew it.
Hmm.
This looks good. This
It does
looks
look good.
really, really good. You got a little blend of dystopian, like future in
Hmm.
there with Margaret Qualley. I literally was joking with you. I was like, is this just her character from The Leftovers in like a in an expanded world?
Hmm.
I know that Elordi's been a topic of conversation this week, especially with the comments coming out about the director. This is where he shows the director, I see where you're coming from, but let me show you my work. Let me continue to show
Hmm.
you my work. And it can go either way. We're not defending Elordi. I mean, now that we are talking about it, we can kind of unfold what we both think about that. I think there's some truth to both sides. I think there's some truth
Hmm.
to both sides. I think that a lot of what Hollywood is right now, where Elordi is playing around in, calls for a sexy male lead. He's just literally playing that part.
Yeah, it's a fair critique, especially with Euphoria just coming back and he's kind of playing that same kind of role. And with him in Frankenstein, like people's critique is like you're just making Frankenstein look like sexy and just because it's Jacob Elordi. And a lot of the times people can't tell, like if you're a top director, they can't tell if this person's a good actor or he's just used as a sex symbol. And it's a fair critique. It's a fair critique of
It's fair.
Hollywood in general. Like maybe you need him to star in these movies like this, where it's more like him being a grounded character and it's not just him being like, oh, I can take my shirt off and have an eight pack or something. It's more of him being, I can prove that I can act. This could be a nice jumping off point for him to be like, I'm done with those Euphoria type of roles and I'm going to start doing stuff like this and I can prove to Hollywood that, hey, I am an Academy Award nominated actor. Like I can act.
I mean, I think it's important. We always talk about talent really well on here. He might not want to be the sex symbol. He might want to be a wallflower.
Mm,
It just might be that he can't say no to these things right now because that's all that's out there. There is a lot of times. I mean, I was just talking to you about Jean Harlow last night. She wanted to be known as this funny sex symbol. That's what she wanted to be known as.
mm,
Sometimes actors like don't want to be known as something either, and whenever they hear that they're probably like,
mm.
like I wish I was taken more
Yeah.
seriously. She wanted to be taken seriously, but she was seen as a sex symbol who was just funny, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Hmm. No, it makes sense. Sometimes actors get like boxed into a corner, like this is all they can play. This is all
Typecast.
they'll be offered for. Yeah, you're typecast, and like this is all that you're getting offers for, and they'll need work. So it's like, I mean, I got to keep doing these roles because like I'm not getting any other offers. Like I gotta keep doing this because this is what Hollywood sees me as. And I think Elordi is trying to get out of that, and he's working with big directors. Like he is doing other stuff as opposed to like, I mean, he started on the Kissing Booth movies on Netflix, and he's evolved to working with Scott and Del Toro. So like
Yeah.
he's clearly getting bigger and he's an Academy Award nominated actor now and he'll start to get bigger roles. But I mean, it is a fair critique of some people thinking that like these actors are just kind of used as sex symbols and I can't really tell if they're a good actor or not. And I don't want to cast him in a movie that doesn't have him like take his shirt off because I can't tell if he can act or not.
You know, I will say I love what you're saying, and it's kind of opening my eyes up to this being way more of an exciting and bigger deal than what people are making it out to be. I'm kind of over the sexualization of actors. I know that you have to have some sort of sex appeal and be visually stunning to be in film, to
Hmm.
be part of this aesthetic picture,
Hmm.
moving picture. I think this is a bigger deal than what people are potentially making it out to be. I mean, I know that there is a lot of sexual energy around Jacob Elordi that he is so like hot or whatever, but like no, like this is a boy who's like probably ultimate dream whenever he was starting to be an actor. This is like a dream moment for him to be working with Ridley
Hmm.
Scott. Maybe like let's take sex off the
Yeah.
table for a minute and just see this person as a person that's like getting to work with like one of the greatest
Hmm.
directors ever.
I agree. And we're both very excited for this. And it looks great. Maybe this will prove to people that are doubting Elordi that, hey, this guy can act. He can lead a movie. The good thing they're working with Ridley Scott. I mean, it's not like you're Jacob Elordi and a cast of unknowns. Like these are Oscar winners and Oscar nominated actors. So like these
Yeah.
people are known.
The more that I think about it, it does just kind of like agitate me how it is his entire essence is all
Hmm.
related to sex, like how
Yeah.
hot he is.
Hmm.
And it's kind of just like making me, am I having a Corey Matthews moment right now? I'm just kind of like seeing like that's just a person and they probably want to
Yeah.
just be seen as a person.
And not just how they look. They want to be taken seriously that they can act.
All I will say is that publications don't help, and literally Variety magazine being like, this sausage on a stick, this
Yeah,
Polaroid.
it's
It's just
yeah,
like,
you're not wrong. I think that it was a great trailer. It looks fantastic and nice to see Ridley Scott and kind of being versatile again, doing other stuff that isn't Gladiator 2. So nice to see that. Nice to see that.
we are definitely living in strange times. Pat and Tony are excited for Jacob Elordi to be in a Ridley Scott film. What the fuck is life?
What is life? What is life? So just to recap, the trailers this week were The Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping, Insidious: Out of the Further, Passengers, Fokker-in-Law, Godzilla Minus Zero, Street Fighter, The Mandalorian and Grogu, and The Dog Stars. A lot of trailers. If you are excited for all of those films, some of those films, any of them, please let us know. We're excited for quite a few of those. It was a big trailer week and there was a lot to discuss there. We're excited. We're excited. So that brings us to our news of the week, and we're going to be talking about CinemaCon and all of the panels that were at CinemaCon. And first up was on Monday was Sony's Pictures panel. They first talked about Spider-Man Brand New Day, and they released a clip and showed some new posters. They went on to then talk about Zach Krager's upcoming film of Resident Evil. And they teased some new footage. Austin Abrams was playing Brian, a medical courier on a survival journey describes a big, scary ride, and it follows Brian on a hellish descent through a snowy, monster-filled landscape. They went on to show footage of Taika Waititi's new film adaptation of Clara and the Sun, and is starring Jenna Ortega. They then showed some Social Reckoning teaser first footage. I'm kind of bummed we didn't get to see any of that online, but soon we'll see some stuff. Soon we'll see some stuff. They then went on to show Insidious Out of the Further trailer, which we talked about earlier in the trailer segment. And then they then went on to show another Spider-Man, but different Spider-Man, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. They were talking about the format, and they were going to be showing it in IMAX. And they showed the opening scene, and then they announced that it'll be released in June 2027. Little mix of horror, superhero, Oscar potential. What'd you think of their overall panel?
I think it was a pretty solid panel. Sony overall as a studio is in good health. They recovered from that crazy over the seas hack from a few
Mm-hmm.
years ago, got somebody fired, canceled Amy Pascal. I still remember all that stuff. I bring it to every time Sony has an announcement presentation like this. I always like
Mm-hmm.
checking in and seeing how they are as a studio. But yeah, I'm excited for Brand New Day, of course. I'm very excited for that trailer that's gonna drop about Clara and the Sun. I think out of this, I'm most excited for the Social Reckoning teaser. I heard that Mikey is PR person whenever it comes to Facebook, and that's going to be exciting. I hear that they're going to be trying to tackle the January 6th events. So it's going to be
Ooh.
very timely. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be something really heavy that they're wanting to say with that. And as much as I love The Social Network, it's in my top four on Letterboxd, and I love everything about that film. It's very timely. I'm excited to see Jeremy Strong kind of carry Mark Zuckerberg's psyche into the next Social Network sequel.
Two. Question number
Yeah,
two.
Social Network 2.
No, I'm the same. I mean, I feel like Spider-Man, Brand New Day, and Beyond the Spider-Verse are kind of like the same like thing to me. So it's like this is just we're talking about Spider-Man. Sony's has that Spider-Man property. I'm really curious to see any footage from Resident Evil because it's his follow-up to Weapons. It's his next thing, and I assume like the audience reaction in there was pretty positive. Really want to see some footage of that. And he even said that you don't have to play the games to understand what's going on, which I guess is a good thing, but it could also be maybe people that play the games are kind of like iffy now, being like, does he know then what this game really is? If it's going to be like the games at all. So I don't know. But I think I'm mostly curious for Taika Waititi's film with Jenna and The Social Reckoning because that Taika Waititi film, I think they filmed that like 2 or 3 years ago and it's still not coming
Yeah,
out. And
yeah.
Now it seems like it's finally getting the light of day at the end of the year. So I
Finally
guess
getting the
we'll
sun.
finally see, yeah, finally seeing the sun. Claire will finally see the sun at the end of the year. But I think like overall, like it seems like it was pretty like a solid panel, not like
Yeah,
anything groundbreaking that was
yeah.
being like shown. It seems like Sony's big push for the Oscars will be the social reckoning. So it'll be interesting to see the follow up. It is not Fincher directing it, so it'll be interesting to see visually how it looks. And yeah,
Hmm.
I think we're both really interested in all of these movies in this panel, all of them.
Pretty healthy as a studio overall. I'm excited
Hmm.
for the year.
Yeah, I think Sony did a solid job of just being like, here's what we got. We're not one of the major studios, but here's what we got, and we still got Spider-Man. So,
Yeah. So our next presentation we're going to be talking about is Warner Bros. So on Tuesday, Warner Bros. Had their CinemaCon presentation. It was a really nice, chunky panel. First, Warner Bros. Announced Clockwork, an international indie label. Their first film is going to be Ti Amo from the one and only Sean Baker, releasing 2027. We kind of talked about this earlier in film news a couple episodes back that Warner Bros. Was going to be highlighting indie film, and I believe it's a couple of the people that previously worked over at Neon. So really excited for
hmm
that. They also featured Godzilla X Kong Supernova coming 2027. They released a poster for The Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum, coming out December 2027, starring Ian McKellen, Kate Winslet, Jamie Dornan, Leo Whedon, Lee Pace, and Elijah Wood. There's also a big presentation for Digger from director Alejandro Inarritu and Tom Cruise. Digger announced their cast: John Goodman, Jesse Plemons, Riz Ahmed, Sandra
hmm
Hewler, and there was a teaser as well. There is also some footage from the new movie coming out, The End of Oak Street. There was like a T-Rex chasing some family down the street. Nothing too crazy there, just a little bit of a
hmm
tease. And then from J.J. Abrams, we got a glimpse at The Great Beyond, an original film coming November
hmm
13th, 2026. So this year, starring Glenn Powell, Jenna Ortega, Emma Mackey, Sophie Okonedo, and Samuel L. Jackson. That film is about reconnecting with a sense of wonder we had as kids, this big story, huge scale, otherworldly elements. Powell plays a character that peaked in high school. I feel like he's done that before, but I'm looking forward to it because it's
hmm
under J.J. Abrams. And some footage was shown there. The highlight of the presentation for Warner Bros. Was Dune Part 3. Denis, Timmy, Zendaya, and Jason Momoa were there. Timmy gave us some good insight into Paul Atreides. They actually spoiled a good chunk of the film. I almost said the name. And we can spoil it here as well because that book is like 50 years old. Paul Atreides has become his own worst vision, becoming the all-powerful Dark Emperor of the universe. His focus now is to only protect the people that he loves. Timmy also compared Dune films to the Lord of the Rings of this generation. The studio screened the first 7 minutes of Dune Part 3, so that was jealous, you bitches. And
hmm
then Denis himself described Dune Part 3 as thrilling, fast paced, and action packed. Now, I think for me personally, I am most excited for Digger. That is just me. That's probably bumped right up to my most anticipated after hearing what that teaser was like. What about you?
hmm No, I'm the same. Like, I feel like Warner Brothers, the vibe from the week seemed to be having like they had one of the best panels and what they were going to be
Absolutely.
showing. Digger definitely has jumped up to one of the top, I think, and most anticipated now. I
Mhm.
am curious to see some footage from The Great Beyond. J.J. Abrams' kind of critique is that he seems to always be wanting to make Steven Spielberg projects, and this seems
Mhm.
like a very Spielberg idea, which I love it that it's an original idea. And I love that we have back-to-back Jenna Ortega stuff coming out in panels. So that's great to
Yeah.
see. And it just seems like with Dune Part 3, The End of Oak Street, like I think Warner Brothers, I mean, you know I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and I don't know about this film particularly in general. Like I still don't really know what they're trying to go for with this,
Mhm.
but I think overall, like I'm really excited for what Warner Brothers is doing. And like the past year, they've been doing some good work. And I know they have their whole sale going on right now, but they seem to be coming along as in like, hey, like we're coming with stuff and we're coming with a bunch of different things with you at once. And they seem to be connecting for us. They seem to be interesting us a lot.
If I didn't know anything about the merger, I would say that this is a healthy studio. I mean, this is
Hmm
this is all great. There's different genres. This is very action heavy focus. I mean, and it seems like they're focusing on what audiences would go see in theaters. All of these films
Hmm.
feel like something you'd go see in theaters.
They feel all very like blockbustery. Everything feels very blockbuster. Like you want to
Yeah,
see all of these in theaters. You don't want to
yeah,
watch any of these at home. And
exactly.
that's what they're going for, and it's working. And it's nice to see that they're making like a new indie label coming out of their studio, and with Sean Baker and him kind of seem to be leading that. They're coming, and they're coming hard. They're coming. They won the Oscars last year, and it seems like they're coming hard again this year. They want more of them, and they're showing
Yeah,
that hey, even though we have this merger going on that could potentially be going on, we're still going to be putting out these huge things that people want to see. And Dune Part 3 is a massive movie coming out this year, and they showed the first 7 minutes. Like you said, we're very jealous that they showed the first 7 minutes. We didn't get to see
yeah,
any of it. So
bitches.
there's bitches. But yeah, from the vibe, it seemed like Warner Brothers had a very, very good panel. Some other studios should be maybe taking notes as to what Warner Brothers is doing, minus the sale. They're doing something correct over there right now. So we should see. We shall see. We
We
shall
shall
see.
see.
See. So that brings us to the next panel of the week, and that was on Wednesday, and it was Universal's panel. And they opened up the panel with Snoop Dogg announcing a biopic about himself. Jonathan Davis from Outer Banks will be playing Snoop Dogg in a Straight Outta Compton style film. So Universal obviously did the Straight Outta Compton, so it makes sense why they would pick this one up. It was also announced that Charlize Theron is playing Calypso in the Odyssey. 5 minutes of footage was shown. I assume it was like kind of the same
Yeah,
IMAX prologue that we saw before Avatar. I think it seemed like they just
probably.
showed that again. And they went on to then talk about Minions and Monsters, written and directed by Pierre Coffin. It is set in the 1920s as the Minions set out west to Hollywood to find another monster to serve. And it seems like they're going to like the classic monster route, and they're going to serve one of those monsters. So we're excited for that. They then went on to show footage from Fokker-in-Law. They showed the trailer, which we talked about earlier. The cast came out and they were discussing the film itself. Then Will Gluck came out to announce his new movie, One Night Only. It's kind of like a Purge-esque comedy romance starring Callum Turner, Monica Barbaro, Maya Hawke, and Molly Ringwald. They showed first footage there. They showed the trailer there. The trailer wasn't, unfortunately, not put online. Robert Eggers then came out to discuss the werewolf. They showed the trailer in the 1:3:3 aspect ratio. So it's one of the first, I think, because they shot that in IMAX, I believe. I think they did. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. We're waiting for that trailer to come. We want it really badly. It's a new Robert Eggers Christmas movie. So
Yes.
they went then on to show the trailer for another horror film, Other Mommy, starring Jessica Chastain. Was not put online either. It seemed like a lot of the trailers that they discussed and footage they shown, they only put about a quarter of them online. So
Yeah.
these things are in the pipeline. They could be coming next week for all we know. We don't know. But then finally, Steven Spielberg came out. He was presented with the America 250 Award. He was very, very surprised by that. They went on to then discuss Disclosure Day, which is Spielberg's 35th feature film. And then he said there's more truth than fiction in this film. And he said that nothing in the third act has been shown at all in the trailers, which awesome. More movies should take notes on that. Don't show anything in the third act. Don't show anything in the act. It seemed like they closed really hard with Disclosure Day and seemed to be a big hit in the auditorium. So Universal also came to play with their The Odyssey and Disclosure Day and Fogger-Law and things like that. They had a lot of footage to show.
Yeah.
What were your overall thoughts of Universal's panel?
I feel like this one could have played out a little bit more. They seem to have banked heavily on Spielberg being there in person. I would draw connection to like the South by Southwest like panel where like he's speaking to everybody in the room, and then there's a podcast episode later kind of thing. I feel like it was for who was in the room rather than who was like outside like refreshing their
Hmm.
socials and everything. The thing that I'm most excited for is for the Spielberg film Disclosure Day. We had a conversation about this week where I was telling you I think that there's going to be something really serious in that film, and he said it himself, there's more truth than fiction in this
Hmm.
film. And I feel like people pay attention to something whenever it's in a film, and Spielberg's always
Hmm.
known that. He's depicted aliens in films for over 50 years, and I'm sure where we are at with the current modern day government and people's like cell phones and everything, I'm sure that there's people that go up to Spielberg all the time and disclose information. And I'm not
Hmm.
even being like tongue in cheek whenever I say that. I'm just saying like Spielberg probably does know a lot about like this nation's
Secrets.
experience with with UFOs and everything, just because of like how he's depicted them. We've had this conversation
Hmm.
before, but that's what I'm most excited for. Yeah, you.
Hmm. No, I'm the same. I think we're both most excited for Disclosure Day. We want to see it right now. We want to see it right now.
Disclose me, please. Please disclose.
And it seemed like from the vibe in the room that that could be potentially an Oscar player at the end of the year. I think maybe some people were like, whoa, like this actually could be a big thing at the end of the year. And they have Eggers' Werewolf coming out at the end of the year. I don't know how well that's going to play for like Oscar audiences. Sometimes that's like too out there for some people. So maybe Universal's big push. They have the Odyssey. Obviously, that's like a huge thing they're going to be pushing because it's Nolan and it's a huge epic. But Spielberg could be right behind him, being like, hey, this is a huge movie we're making, and we could be breaking new ground in the sci-fi like alien genre here. And yeah, I think we both agree. These movies need to stop showing footage from the third act in the trailer.
Yeah.
Don't show anything. Just
Yeah.
here's the first two acts, and you'll have to see how it ends. So you'll have to see how it ends. But yeah, I think we're both most excited for Disclosure Day, and I mean we're excited for the Odyssey. Let's see what comes out of that. So Universal, not as big of a slate as Warner Brothers, but they had some stuff to talk about, and they're very confident in their Odyssey and Disclosure Day. It'll be interesting to see those films when they come out and how they play with audiences.
Our next presentation from CinemaCon was from MGM and Amazon. Academy Award winner Michael B. Jordan. I always love saying that.
Hmm.
Academy Award winner Michael B. Jordan's Thomas Crown Affair was announced. So there's a piano on the stage, and people are trying to figure out, like, for the longest time, what was going on. John Baptiste is providing the score for Thomas Crown Affair. The film will star Jordan and Adria Arjona, very hot actor right now. The Sheep Detectives was featured. Hugh Jackman and cast came out with an extended trailer debut. I'm super excited for that one. Just really, really excited, actually. And then David Leitch and Pete Davidson announced the film How to Rob a Bank, a story about YouTube streamers producing content on how to rob banks, starring Davidson, Nicholas Hoult, and Anna Sawai. Very smart cast. That film seems like it's going to do really well. My favorite thing to come out of that panel was how they had thumbnails on the screens that were just in the same theme of like how a bunch of streamers do their thumbnails. It was really, really funny to see the talent that way. And
Hmm.
then we had Spaceballs, the new one, get talked about at the panel, and they are really, really excited about that one. Rick Moranis is out of retirement, and they surprised audiences with a couple of the streamers. So just imagine like you and me talking about this right now, and then like this being broadcast at CinemaCon. That's how they started their panel. They featured two streamers who were talking about Spaceballs, and then they played like the trailer. It's
Oh,
pretty cool.
nice. I love
It's
it. I
pretty
love it.
cool.
Yeah.
Very
Hmm.
cool way for Amazon and MGM to include the audience that was
Hmm.
coming out with these.
It's obviously a smaller slate than a lot of
Hmm.
these other things like Amazon. I mean, Amazon's obviously a huge trillion-dollar company, but like
Streaming giant.
from a studio standpoint, they're not going to have these huge things behind them right now. And I heard that the Thomas Crown Affair footage looked fantastic. Hey, maybe every 30 years you just remake Thomas Crown Affair and just keep changing it, and it seems to work. You had Steve McQueen, then you had Pierce Brosnan, now you got Michael B. Jordan. So huge stars making this, and Jordan's directing it. So I'm very interested in that. We're both very interested in Sheep Detectives. We want to see some detectives solve crimes. Hopefully, becomes a franchise. I love Spaceballs. That's the first Mel Brooks movie I think I ever saw was Spaceballs. So I love
Yeah.
Spaceballs, and Mel Brooks is still alive. He's still doing it. He's still doing it. Yeah, and then How to Rob a Bank, great cast, and I love Anna Sawai from Shogun, and good to see her being in feature films now. And yeah, it's yeah, like I said, it's a smaller slate. This is all we kind of have. That's like gonna probably be in theaters right now. Everything else is gonna go straight to like streaming. But Amazon, MGM, they're trying to play ball with these other studios, and they're trying to be in there. So then on Thursday, Paramount did their slate, and they talked about Street Fighter, which we talked about earlier. They dropped the trailer with there, and then they were talking about like the plot of it. And then it follows that Ryu and Ken reunite with Chun-Li, and they recruit them for the World Warrior Tournament. As they face a hidden conspiracy, they must confront each other and their past or face destruction. So they had like the whole panel. I think some of the cast did come out for it, showed the trailer, and seemed to be, like I said, played well in the auditorium. We talked about it earlier. And then David Ellison did come out, and he did promise that I don't know if people know, in CinemaCon, a lot of the audience members are theater owners. So the
Yeah, it's a
studios are
trade
trying,
show.
yeah. So the studios are trying to sell these movies, being like, hey, like we're putting all of these in theaters. Like you should be excited for this stuff. Like we're going to be putting audiences in your theaters. So Ellison did promise to the owners in the room that they will make a minimum of 30 movies annually when Paramount and Warner Brothers merge, and that there will be a minimum 45-day window starting that day when he said that, starting that day, and then SVOD in 90 days. So we see this stuff. It's always like they say this, but will they actually follow it? And until this merger happens, we don't know what's going to keep happening with this stuff. They're just going to keep saying this stuff just to appeal to the audiences and appeal to the theater owners until this deal goes through and we see exactly what happens. We won't know. So, but he did come out and say that in into them, and it seemed to be received pretty well, but we'll see. We'll see. They then did also announce that a new World War Z movie is in the works. I know for a while David Fincher was supposed to direct the sequel for a long, long time.
Interesting. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
for a
Oh,
long, long time, but it never came to fruition. Never happened, but
very
Par-
interesting.
Paramount, I think again, they're still trying to find those franchises that they only have a couple and they really want a lot of them. And I think that's partly why they may have bought Warner Brothers because they want them as franchises. They want that franchise money. But then they also did announce that Top Gun 3 is officially in the works, which we've kind of already known for a while, and that Tom Cruise is returning for Top Gun 3. I mean, no surprise there. Again, kind of a smaller slate. Paramount's still saying we're here. I think their big thing was them saying that they're going to be in theaters longer. I think that's kind of what they're they're kind of like saying here. I don't know what else to say. What are your thoughts on the Paramount panel?
It was all right, I guess. Like it's just like, eh,
Yeah, it's like that. It's like, eh.
move on. Just,
Mhm.
David, I can't trust anything that comes out of his mouth right now.
Yeah. No, it's a fair thing. It's like
Yeah.
all of these Netflix is saying it, and they're all saying it, and until I
Mm-hmm.
see it, how do I know you're not lying to me? So.
Yeah. And our final presentation for CinemaCon, man, what a lengthy week. What a lot of film news.
Hmm.
This is wild, wild, wild. Our final presentation is from none other than Disney. At the Disney presentation, the first 15 minutes of Mandalorian and Grogu were shown. Nothing really there. We didn't see it. I mean, it was just
Hmm.
something that was in house. For Toy Story 5, though, they brought Tom Hanks and Tim Allen out and they got to talk about the movie. Woody is revealed to have a beer belly alongside a balding head in Toy Story
Hmm.
5. Very relatable content as a millennial.
Hmm. Very relatable.
Moana 2 was featured as well. I remember The Rock coming out and just talking about how Maui's character is very much like his grandfather, kind of a way to tie himself to the movie to ask for people to support.
Hmm.
The Dog Stars trailer was shown, very impressive. Whale Fall was also a project that was shown for footage and everything. So it
Hmm.
follows a scuba diver swallowed by a sperm whale, and he has only 1 hour to escape before he gets digested. Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. We'll
Interesting.
see.
Kind of
We'll
kind of
see.
want to see it. Kind of want
Yeah.
to see it.
And then Haley Steinfeld,
Hmm.
congratulations on her new baby, a new member to the family. She is
Hmm.
to voice Billy in Disney's animated film Hex. It centers on a teenager who discovers she has magical witch powers. And then
Hmm.
Rashida Jones is playing her mom. That is some pretty good casting, and I'm
Hmm.
interested to see how it does, how it fares, being a
Hmm.
Disney animated film, but it's about witchcraft, so we'll see. And then, so a fun announcement from Disney, Ice Age 6 Boiling Point. I did not catch a release date, but this is still super, super
Yeah, I
exciting.
think they were
I
just
mean,
announcing it. I think they were just
yeah.
announcing a new one. Yeah.
And then, of course, all of the presentation stuff that we just talked about is great and everything, but everybody was here for Doomsday.
Mm.
All of CinemaCon, all of those influencers that got to go to Doomsday were waiting just for this moment. So, Avengers Doomsday was featured. Disney announced Infinity Vision, a way for audiences to find premium format screens for Avengers Doomsday. This is a direct response to Dune Part 3 taking the highest premium screen in every
Mm.
theater across the US. And okay, interesting. Infinity
Hmm.
Vision. I'm going to be very curious to see how that rolls out. So after that Infinity Vision announcement, we also got into a re-release that, we both like. So it looks like they're going to do an Avengers Endgame theatrical re-release that will include deleted scenes and other surprises, returning to
Hmm.
theaters this September. I know that a lot of people are going to rewatch the Avengers film,
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
very cool for them to offer that before getting really, really serious. I feel like Endgame
Mm.
is going to be a lot more fun than what's coming. Audiences were treated to the first trailer for Avengers Doomsday. That was the big moment at CinemaCon.
Hmm.
I believe it was RDJ and Chris Evans. They came to be with Feige and the Russo bros to play this for the audience. The trailer features Thor fighting Doctor Doom and reuniting with Steve. Professor X is watching an incursion, which I'm so glad I told you what an incursion was. Mystique turns into Yelena Belova.
Ooh.
Shang-Chi and Gambit fight. The
Mm.
Fantastic Four and the new Avengers meet with Thor in the Avengers Tower in Doomsday. Thor remarks that Doom is the scariest threat he has ever seen. And then RDJ is using an accent in his voice for Doctor Doom, which makes me happy personally because he is a Romani character. And then
Mhm.
the big announcement of casting was not Storm, was not Halle Berry coming back as Storm, was not Famke coming back as Jean Grey, was not even Hugh Jackman being like, "Oh yeah, I'm actually in this one too. I'm just walking over from the Sheep Detectives." It was Cassie Lang, Catherine Newton's character. Cassie Lang will return in Avengers Doomsday. I'm liking how the trailer's described. It sounds like they're hitting some notes from Time Runs Out. Sylvester's returning. I just need to see how this looks, and I basically need
Yeah.
to see what that dialogue's like in order for me to just be like, okay, I'm excited again.
No, I'm the same. It's kind of like I think this was the big thing everyone was waiting for during this
Mm-hmm.
entire CinemaCon, and it was ending
Mm-hmm.
with it. And now it's kind of like you're still holding on to this footage. You're still not showing audiences around the world like what you're going to be releasing against Dune. And you're
Yeah.
creating this whole thing with Infinity Vision. You're basically saying like this is our version of IMAX and Dolby. Like we're gonna rebrand it so it's something cooler, and it's literally just the same thing as the Dolby. If you want people to be super excited for this, and it seemed like people were, you should be showing, I think, the footage online. I think if you want to entice people, like you need people to come and see this, see the film. And if you're not showing anything, again, you're still not showing anything, and your big reveal was that Cassie Lang from Quantum Mania is coming back. Then I don't know. Maybe some people are like, I don't know. They don't know what to make of it. And it seemed like people in the theater liked what they saw, but we haven't seen anything, so we can't determine anything else. And this was Disney's big push, and I don't really know if it's landed yet. I don't know if it's landed like hard or anything, and I'm curious to see the footage when it comes out. It could be coming out this coming week for all we know. We don't know. We don't know when it's coming out. So overall, the panel seemed to be kind of like okay. It seemed like everyone was kind of just getting antsy, waiting for Doomsday. They were kind of like, all right,
Yeah.
let's just get to Doomsday. You drop in the trailer or not? You drop in the trailer or not? So Disney's really going to have to be banking on Doomsday being their big hit this year. And I don't know, it seemed like people's vibe were like, yeah, this information isn't really anything new. And your biggest thing was saying Cassie Lang is returning. Then I don't know what to make of what we've seen. It wasn't a bad panel or anything. They announced a lot of stuff. They announced a big slate of movies coming, but curious to just see how the Doomsday trailer looks, and hopefully they drop it online soon. But yeah, that was all of CinemaCon. That was a big thing, a big week for us. We got through it all. We got through it all, but
Jeez,
yeah, I
Lou.
I think Warner Brothers may be in the lead for their slate coming. I don't know.
I agree.
I don't
I
know.
agree. Warner Bros. Is taking it, which is so ironic because they're literally being sold.
Being sold. They're being sold. Yeah. So for those that don't know, yeah, CinemaCon is a big thing for studios to showcase their films to theater owners. And I know some people think it's kind of like a Comic-Con, like things are going to be dropped online. Not a lot gets dropped online. A lot of the footage is shown in-house, and eventually they'll show these trailers later down the line. They're just trying to get these theater owners excited for everything. So that brings us to our next piece of news this week, and that is a letter was signed by over 1,000 filmmaking professionals in the industry, and it was released to the public opposing the Paramount Warner Brothers Discovery merger, which we've been talking about for this episode quite a bit. Some details of it. So what they said was this transaction would further consolidate an already concentrated media landscape, reducing competition at a moment when our industries and the audiences we serve can least afford it. The result will be a fewer opportunities for creators, fewer jobs across the production ecosystem, higher costs, and less choice for audiences in the United States and around the world. Alarmingly, this merger would reduce the number of major US film studios to just four. I mean, I think we agree. Like, this is a big thing, and I'm honestly kind of surprised it's taken a while for like this type of letter to come out from like a people within the studio. This has been announced for a while.
Hmm.
But it is, yeah, I think it just shows to the general public, like people within this industry don't agree with this. And this is just top executives patting each other on the back, making money. And it's going to take
It's
away a
not.
lot of jobs. It's going to be massive layoffs for a lot of these people at these studios. And
Hmm.
it's good to see people within the industry like taking a stance. And some of these actors could turn down jobs at Paramount and Warner Brothers because they're like, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm not
Spot
starring in
on.
your movies. I'm not starring in your movies anymore because of this, what's happening.
Spot on. Yeah, I mean it's always a amazing moment to like finally like be like, "Hey, enough is enough. This is how I feel about this." And sorry if you don't agree, but this is how I feel.
No, exactly. I think we feel the same way. It takes away from actual creators, actual vision, and it reduces it to a business company. and putting them going through the motions just to make a profit any way they can, and they don't actually care what they're being put out, and it'll alienate a lot of people. So that brings us to the next piece of news this week, and that is Avengers Secret Wars is now in pre-production with the release date set for December 17th, 2027. So
Well,
us
they
going back
better get
to
started.
yeah, us going back to the Doomsday talk, it's how do you get people excited for this? We need to see Doomsday footage.
Yeah.
I think they're slowly dropping hints of this stuff's coming, and we need to see how Doomsday does. And if Doomsday isn't the greatest, then will people be excited for Secret Wars? But yeah, Disney announced and Marvel announced that they're gearing up. All those actors better dust off their costumes because they're coming back. Coming back. So the next piece of news is that Adria Arjona has landed the Maxima role at DC Studios and will be starring in the Superman sequel, Man of Tomorrow. Now, I'm not entirely sure. Is this confirmed news or is it still a
It's
rumor?
either Maxima or Wonder Woman.
They could be playing it off that it's Maxima, but she could be playing maybe Wonder
Exactly.
Woman.
Exactly.
Maybe playing
Exactly.
Wonder
I
Woman.
don't is Adria Arjona, is she above 30? The only reason I asked is because I would be curious to see what David
She's 33,
Corenswet's okay, what is David Corenswet's age?
32.
So actually pretty great casting for a
Mm-hmm.
Wonder Woman role. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Maxima is basically just like really, really horny for Superman and wants to have his babies. Her hair is
Mm.
also red. I don't think she's Maxima. That's why I put a question mark next to it. I think she's Wonder Woman.
And they're
And
just
which
playing it
makes
off.
sense the age between her and David
Mm-hmm.
Cornsweet because it's like pretty peak. Like I have like at least 10 to 15 years with these actors.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like they could be playing it off to being like, oh, she's gonna be playing this, but then when the movie comes out, it's actually Wonder Woman. So I'm very
Yeah. We'll
curious to
see.
see. We're curious to see. I mean, again, DC's got to have a big year to keep people interested, and they have Supergirl coming, so we'll see. Another piece of news this week is that a long leg sequel was announced, reteaming director Oscar Perkins with Nicolas Cage, but they have now moved to Paramount as Neon has backed out because the production was too high of a cost for them. So
Interesting.
and Paramount coming in and taking over. I mean, it's not even a franchise, but they're coming over and taking that film from them. So curious to see how a major studio now handles long legs compared to a smaller studio like Neon.
I'm probably gonna add a lot of stuff in there that's not like relatable.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say like about it is like it seems like Paramount is going to try to make this into a franchise. They're like I said, they're trying to find these things that are a franchise and
No, I don't want Long Legs as a
yeah.
franchise. God, God.
So it's like I don't know. I don't know. It's
Mm,
curious to see the move there and that Oscar Perkins wants to go to Paramount. So it's curious to see the move there. Curious to
yeah.
see the move there. So our final piece of news and a big news slate, our final piece of news,
Whew.
we've made it, is that Warner Brothers has announced that Zach Cregger is making a new sci-fi thriller titled The Flood and is set to release August 11th of 2028. He's working with Sony with Resident Evil, and now he's going back to Warner Brothers, obviously with the success of Weapons being an Academy Award winning film. Cregger, he's becoming a big director in Hollywood, becoming a
He's
very big
killing
director in
it.
Hollywood very quickly. And
He's killing it.
I think I'll just say like Warner Brothers seems to try to like rebuilding these connections with directors because they had Nolan for a while, then they lost him, and usually they have these directors that will
Mm.
constantly be working at their studios, and I think they're trying to rebuild these relationships to be like, hey, we are respecting what you want to do, and we're not going to try to oversee and take control of what you want to do. And that's what they kind of did with Nolan, and that's why Nolan left. I'm curious to see them trying to rebuild their relationships. I don't think Nolan will ever go back there, but they're keeping relationships with Kreger. They've kept it with Denny, so we'll see. This movie's coming out in like 3 years almost, but we'll see. We'll
I'm
see.
excited for the sci-fi.
Yeah, the sci-fi element of it. So yeah, Kreger's he's killing it. He's killing it. So that brings us to the trivia of the week. And last week's trivia question, which Tony came up with, was what is the name of the actor that starred in both the Lord of the Rings trilogy and Back to the Future Part 2? He did not give a hint. He said, I will not be giving a hint. You need to know this off the top of your head. But
Yeah.
the answer is Elijah Wood. Elijah Wood starred in the Lord of the Rings trilogy as well as Back to the Future Part 2. He is in one
The
scene.
hint was in the question.
Yeah, that is the other. Yeah, yeah, he's in one scene of Back to the Future Part 2. So if you knew that, awesome, good job. You knew the answer to that. This week's trivia question is: what is the name of Martin Scorsese's first feature film? And the hint was that it was released in 1967. So I've kind of put this on there because he has a new film entering the Criterion Collection. I think it was like his second film is entering the Criterion Collection in July. So,
Nice.
so I wanted to throw. What is his first film? Good luck to those trying to think of that answer. Good luck. Good luck. So that brings us to our film score recs of the week. And Tony, what is your film score rec of this week?
I recommended the Back to the Future score from Alan Silvestri. I think that score is so much fun and it makes you feel like you're on a little adventure whenever you're just going to the
Hmm.
grocery store, and I'm really into that.
We love Back to the Future here, so
Hmm.
love that score, and it ties back into your trivia question from last week.
What
We love
about
Back to
you?
the
What's
Future.
your recommendation?
My recommendation this week is a Dunkirk score by Hans Zimmer. I think it's a great score, beautiful score. I have the vinyl of it. Particularly love the ending song and like the last 5 minutes of the film. I think it's great.
I'll have to
But
check it
yeah,
out.
I highly recommend Dunkirk. Hans Zimmer seems to like he likes to play with time. I feel like when you're listening to his scores, it feels like you're listening to like
Yeah.
a ticking clock a lot. I kind of like that. I kind of like it. So that brings us to our film recommendation this week. And Tony, what is your film recommendation this week?
My film recommendation for the week is going to be The Florida Project, made in
Ooh.
2017, directed by Sean Baker. Someone probably gonna like get on to me for saying this, but I think that Sean Baker takes modern times and uses like the comedy relief for that film to be like a little kid who's
Hmm.
literally does not know what's going on, but the audience does, and there's no way of her to figure out like what's going on to her for her to realize like, oh, this is actually like real life. Very beautiful film, just very emotional. So be prepared for that.
Hmm.
And I think you're gonna be really happy with your choice if you watch something like The Florida Project. It's nothing like you think, and
Hmm.
it's more.
Yeah, really
What
good.
about you?
Very good film. It might be his best film. I don't know. Might be his best film. I don't know.
Wow.
Hot take, hot take, hot take. My film recommendation this week is Pride and Prejudice from 2005 and directed by Joe Wright. I think it's a great adaptation of it. I think Joe Wright makes good period stuff. I won't comment on his other stuff that isn't period, but I think it's a great film. Keira Knightley's in it. I remember seeing it in 2005 and really loving it a lot. And there was recently a 4K that came out last year for it, and they released it in theaters last year. Highly recommend Pride and Prejudice. It's a very solid film, so go and watch it with a great score as well. Great score as well. And with that, that brings us to the end of this weekly news recap. There was a lot that we talked about, a lot that
A
we talked about,
lot.
and we got
A
through it.
lot.
We got through it together. We got through it together. We did it. We did
I'm out of
it.
breath.
I know my brain's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But we
Yeah.
just want to thank those that stayed with us for this big recording. This was a lot. CinemaCon was a lot. But we got through it. We got through it. It's been good to be back. I'll say it's been really good to be back and doing this, and
Yeah.
it makes me feel really good to be back in the groove and talking film news, and it feels great, and it's good to be back here discussing all this with you and doing
I'm
it
so
all. It's
happy
been
you're
great.
back.
It's great. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be back. And with that, hey, Tony, go watch a fucking movie.
Hey, Pat, go watch a fucking movie.
This podcast is hosted and edited by Pat Brennan. That's me, with intro and closing music by Patrick Baxter.